Welcome back to Real Conversations with Nora for our 37th episode. Our topic of discussion this week is Young, Single, and Free. And joining me today is Kayla Shaw. Kayla is an entrepreneur and a current student at the University of South Carolina, majoring in mass communication. She recently began pursuing a career in acting at a local agency. And after a tragic house fire, she paused on school and became inspired to start her first business in direct sales. She quickly moved up the ranks, promoting herself to the 2% of a major cosmetic company. And she discovered her love for mentorship, and the journey has given her the confidence to go for everything aligned with her purpose. Kayla is a thrill seeker with a love for Jesus Christ, fashion, and traveling. She is inspired in every arena and understands the significance of the wisdom of women, which makes it possible for her to live a life that she wants and desires. So thank you, Kayla, for joining us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Young, single, and free. That is you. When I saw you, of course I see you on social media. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so young. She's so free and single. It's just awesome. But at your young age, how does it feel to be young and free and to make your own decisions about your life and the direction you want it to go?
Oh my goodness. First of all, to be young is a very unique situation. You always feel like I'm a little too old for these things. I'm a little too young for this. You're just trial and error is what
Yeah.
I'll call it. But I do have to say I feel like I'm at the top of the world, and it's just a journey of falling in love with your life, a journey of falling in love with yourself. And as you go, you grow, and you
Right.
just need to kind of take the ups and the downs. And
Right.
I find that it's so much easier once you get in tune with God and once you solidify that relationship. It's
Mhm.
easier to go and be free because you can trust his guidance. You can trust that
Mhm.
he will not have you where you should not be, right?
Mhm.
Even though
Mhm.
we stray.
Mhm.
But I've learned to just trust his word, trust his guidance. And it's just a journey of falling in love with who I am and what I'm doing. And I love it.
That's so good and so important because we find that so many young girls are not in that situation and that mindset of thinking that way because of the reality shows that we see that are not always very positive, let's be clear, or, the entertainment world, being fascinated by the wrong things. And I think what I love about you, you are so centered and focused and I love that about you. I love that about Kiera and so many other young people that I know, but that are just really focused on being who they have been called to be. So moving into our next question, let's talk a little bit about the importance of you leaving your comfort zone to start a business and being confident in who you are. Because let's face it, um, there's so much competition. There's often ways that you would compare yourself, especially looking on social media. Social media can be good, but it also can be very damaging to a young person. So talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Well, I would say from my personal experience,
Mhm.
big things are not going to happen until you get out of that comfort zone. You have
Mhm.
to get a little uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So when I think about business or really any arena that you're in and you're
Mhm.
trying to inspire others,
Mhm. Mhm.
how are you going to even
Mhm.
have anything to show? How are
Right.
you going to even have that substance inside if you
Mhm.
yourself haven't left and done what it is you're trying to tell other people to do, right?
Right.
You've had
Right.
that trial and error, you've built that confidence, you have
Mhm.
something to show that you are successful so that
Mhm.
other people do want to lead or aspire to follow behind you. And so
Mhm.
for me, I definitely say, even though it may be uncomfortable for now,
Mhm.
you're going to be able to look back maybe a
Mhm.
year or two or maybe 5 years, however long it's going to take, but you're going to be able to look back and say, wow, I'm really glad that I decided to use my voice that one day, even though I may be very embarrassed about my story.
Mhm.
Or I'm
Mhm.
really glad that I decided to
Mhm.
sign up for that business because look at me now. It's changed my entire life. It's changed my household. Whatever it is that you may have achieved, you may think, oh my gosh, but you're actually allowing someone else to see what it is that they can do,
Mhm.
right? You can
Yeah.
see that it's possible for
Mhm.
them.
Mhm.
And so I really think there is no business without leaving your comfort zone. Nothing
Wow.
great is going to come from it.
Well, that is so good. I read something the other day that said the mindset of equality as a reality. A recent study conducted by the Pew Research Center, founded in 2018, that women earn 85% of what men earn based on the analysis of the median hour wage for both part time and full time. And in 2017, the US Census Bureau found that women earn 80% of what men earn when the analysis of a full-time wage data. What's your thought about that when you hear that, especially as a young person?
Right, right.
Is that
So
encouraging to you, or how do you feel about that?
it's a challenge. It's a challenge, Miss Nora. It's a challenge. So I do want to say thank you to God above for placing me with the parents that I have.
Yes, right,
My dad definitely raised me to believe, if you want it, it's out there for you to have. And
right,
my mom definitely raised a no quitter,
right,
right? She
right.
raised me not to quit, especially when it comes to the things that I truly want. And so it really is a challenge when I think about all of the women that have come before us, especially recently, like in the political world,
Mhm,
even in the television industry.
mhm,
It may be driven by
mhm,
men, but
mhm.
there are women who have broken through, especially some women of color
Right,
that have shown us who cares? We have
right.
voices and they want to hear from us. I think about Oprah Winfrey, her
Yeah.
own network, the influence that she has, the lives she's been able to change just
Mhm.
from her voice and the
Right,
people she came from. You
right.
know,
Yeah.
if we'd known her then, we never would have imagined the Oprah she is today. And
Mhm.
my favorite saying is, I love when they like to doubt you and you turn out to be an Oprah.
Right,
So
right,
everyone should just, run hard, be an Oprah. It
right.
doesn't matter what the statistics say. It doesn't
Mhm,
matter if you are the only woman in your workplace or
mhm.
you feel like you're starting a new business and in that industry there's only men. You may be the one that is able to change that for the
Right.
others behind you. I think
Mhm.
about Stacey Abrams. The political world we know is driven by men.
Right,
But she was able to totally change things up in Georgia.
right.
Some people didn't like
She did,
it, some
she
people
did.
loved it, but it was necessary
Right,
for those women that are like me, that are young and watching. It's so
right,
inspiring. And
right.
so, my thoughts on that article are, it may be true,
Mhm,
but our God doesn't work with statistics.
mhm,
Those don't phase him at all. If
mhm,
you're supposed to be somewhere, if you're
mhm.
supposed to be using your voice, if you're supposed to be in that room, in that space, you're going to be there as long as you are obedient to his word and you're getting out of your comfort zone, right? To work in your gifts and your strengths.
And I think the interesting thing about this census, it says that 85 that women earn 85% of what men earn based on. So that kind of shows you that we're moving up the ranks, that we
Mm,
are making, and but there's room for more. There's a necessity for more, for that to happen in just all areas, that women are making equal because they're equally as smart and sometimes do more work. Um, and so they should have that right to
right.
make whatever it is that they set their goal for. If they set a goal and say, you know what, I want to make 90,000 this year, they should be able to do that. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we take care of home, right?
Exactly. Actually, we wear many, 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 many hats. So,
Yeah.
how important rather is it to you to create a mindset of equality as you create your reality? I thought that was really good.
Right. It is so good. It is so good. Well, anything that you do, I believe that it happens once in
Hmm.
your mind and
Hmm.
then it actually happens in reality. So you
Right.
have to be able to see that
Hmm.
happening for yourself before it can actually come to fruition. And so, in that mindset, just going back to that quote as well as just, the equality of the money in the workplace,
Hmm.
it really, to me, you may be surrounded by this and that, but if you go in knowing that you are worthy, that
Hmm.
you are capable of doing the same work, right?
Hmm.
That you have the same knowledge, if not more,
Hmm.
like you mentioned.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you've come from, but you
Hmm.
know that you bring something that they may not be able to bring.
Right.
Um, you walking in with that quality mindset and you
Hmm.
walking in knowing your worth and bringing something different to the table allows you to perform in your
Hmm.
strengths. But
Hmm.
if you walk in already feeling let down,
Mhm.
already feeling like, oh my gosh, there's so many people above me. They've come from here and I'm only from across, whatever it is that you're struggling with mentally.
Mhm.
But you just have to do the inside work. That's something that I'm learning on my journey of being
Mhm.
young, single, and free. You
Mhm.
do have to, it's the same way that you look at others' actions, right? And we want
Mhm.
to analyze those things. You want to make sure that you're analyzing your thoughts,
Right.
and you're controlling your thoughts. They're
Right.
naturally going to come, but you
Right.
want to make sure that you are, anytime that a negative thought comes in, you're replacing it quickly with a positive thought,
Right.
and you're
Mhm.
doing your affirmations so
Mhm.
that you can have that consistent
Mhm.
mindset
Mhm.
of I'm successful,
Mhm.
I'm quality, I'm worthy of just like everyone else. And
Right.
that way you are able to perform
Right.
in
Right.
your strengths.
And that you have the possibility that there are possibilities. So
Yeah.
this is another question I want to ask. And I just thought about this as we were talking about this being young and you're single and you're free. And not to say that you don't want to date and not to say that you don't eventually want to get married. But let's talk a little bit about, because I believe in this time and age and this season of where we are in life, young people, young girls often think they have to have a boyfriend, they
Mhm.
have to have a man to be successful, and that is not true. And you, Kayla Shaw, has proven that. So talk a little bit about that.
Yes, yes. So I like that you threw that in there in the beginning because I do date. I do date. And there's nothing wrong with dating on your journey. Um,
Right.
but there is absolutely no need. I grew up in the South, so I am from South Carolina, and I
Right.
do notice that there's a stigma where, you
Hmm.
know, we have an MRS. It's what you go to school for, an MRS. Some people legitimately go to school expecting to find their mate there, or they
Right.
do want to get married super young. Whatever works. If I were to find my person, I wasn't going to turn it away, right?
Right. Right.
But I do know that the mindset for me has changed. I realize as long as you focus on this one thing, I want a man. Well, what do you have to bring to the table if you haven't been working on yourself, if you
Right.
haven't been grinding on your education, your business, or your corporate job?
Hmm.
Um, Building up yourself internally, because you need to have that confidence.
Hmm.
You need to bring something to the table, plain and simple. And
Right.
so why not just release that? We
Mhm.
expect that Christmas is going to be around the corner. We
Right.
never question that.
Right.
We expect that when we put the key in the ignition or we press the start, it's going to turn on. So why do you not just trust the process that eventually God is going to bring him to you?
Hmm.
Have fun dating while you grind, but don't focus on that. Fall in
Right.
love with yourself first,
Right.
because that is way more attractive to a man than a woman who is sitting there waiting,
Hmm.
peddling, waiting for the man to come. And so I just encourage every woman to, and they might not all be like me. Some
Right.
women really find joy in the solitude and traveling and living their life, and maybe a man is not at all in their plans.
Yes.
Kudos to you, girlfriend.
Right.
But for those who are, just fall in love with the process. Go places that you've never gone before. Make amazing friends like Miss Nora, okay? Because she will put you on point. She will keep you sharp. You know, um, just fall in love with building yourself.
Right.
And that will come. And
Right.
it's just so many things that you learn about yourself
Right.
being alone,
Right.
right?
Hmm.
You learn about what you like and what you do not want
Hmm.
in dating.
Hmm.
But I think that every woman should have that period where she is young, single, and free,
Hmm.
and she's deciding what career she wants to work in and
Hmm.
deciding what she wants her life to look
Right.
like
Right. Right.
if she decides to be
Exactly.
serious with someone. But yes, build that woman that you want yourself to be. So when men and kids come,
Hmm.
you're already her.
Right. And the other part of that is too, is that it shows you don't have to have a man to be successful. And not only do you need to bring something to the table, he needs to bring something to the table. Your expectations of what you're looking for and what you want to happen. When you agree?
I agree. I agree. I agree. As you continue to elevate, you would expect that the mate that comes into your life matches you.
Good, good. So how does it make you feel at a young age to be free where you are and that you don't have to count on anyone to be successful? You don't even have to count on your parents. Of course, they are a good example, but you don't have to rely on them for your success. You can rely on Kayla's success. How does that make you feel?
It is freeing. It is freeing.
Mhm.
And I was actually just talking to my mother the other day and saying, I like you so much better now when I'm grown. She said, I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. It's just so different getting to
Mhm.
know your mother on
Mhm.
a level when you are grown and going through experiences that she once has, and
Mhm.
she's not having to parent you so much.
Right.
And vice versa, she's falling in love with knowing a grown up Kayla.
Mm.
And so I really
Love
do
it.
I feel like it's just a journey. I know I keep repeating this,
But it's
um,
true.
but that's my word for it. I'm growing into learning. It's not supposed to happen tomorrow. You're not going to wake up one day like, this is life. It's
Mhm.
never all the way figured out.
Right.
But I really do feel like just being free and having to depend on absolutely no one is someplace you should love to be, and you should embrace that moment,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
having the children, not having the man, and
Mm.
literally just being a single woman. If you're not there right now, maybe you're in a situation where you're having to depend on others. It's okay.
Right.
One thing that has helped me is taking notes of what I want my life to look like in a
Mhm.
couple of months,
Mhm.
in a year. And I review those things, I speak affirmations over those things, I pray over those things, and then they come out with
Right.
work, obviously. And so
Good.
I do just want to encourage those who may not be in that situation.
Mhm.
It doesn't last always. Okay.
Good.
So
Good.
go ahead and take the action now to get to where you're having that solitude, that freedom, that financial freedom.
Yes.
And then if you desire to have that mate, like we talked about earlier, um,
Right.
you've already lived your solitude.
Right. Right. Well, good, good. I read something else the other day. It says to be successful, you have to have your heart in business and your business in your heart. And that was by Thomas Watson Sr. What's your thought about that statement and how it applies to Kayla?
Yes, I think that quote is beautiful. I've never heard that one before, so I do
Mhm.
like that. When I relate it to myself, I really feel like if you're going to commit to doing something,
Mhm.
um, when I commit to doing something, I put my heart all in it.
Good.
Okay. It's not something that I'm going to halfway do.
Right.
I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared for it. I'm going to
Mhm.
make sure that I bring my authentic self,
Mhm.
and that's in any arena.
Mhm.
This talk show,
Mhm.
my actual businesses, my acting career. You guys, that was so nerve wracking to just
Mhm.
publicly announce that I'm going for it, because some people are like, what? You could never. But
Yeah.
that's something that I've always wanted to do. I've
Mhm.
always wanted to be able to use my voice, be a
Mhm.
representation for others, especially the TV personality. I just want to do those two together. And, it's once you're out there,
Mhm.
once you put your heart in it,
Mhm.
you realize that it's not really about you.
Right.
And I think that's where that quote kind of ties in. You have to put your heart into it. It is a business. And for me, business is never just about you. It's about who you can bring along, who you can
Right.
bless, who you can serve,
Right.
who you can inspire.
Right.
So
Wow,
I'm,
that's
I'm fully in
awesome.
agreement with that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Kayla, I want to thank you for being on my guest today on Real Conversations with Nora. Are there any last minute words that you would like to share with our audience before leaving?
Yes. One thing I would like to say is no matter what your situation is, no matter who you are, no
Mhm.
matter where you come from, how you look, how you feel, you
Mhm.
have a voice. And I do feel like every single woman's voice is important.
Mhm.
I do feel like the reason that there is trial and errors in our
Mhm.
life is so
Mhm.
that we can use our voice to testify to
Mhm.
others and show
Mhm.
them what we've been through so that they can see, wow, this is possible, or
Right.
wow, it's not just me, just
Right.
inspiring others. And so I would say, in whatever arena that it is that
Mhm.
you are in, make sure that you're using your voice to inspire. Okay.
Wow, that
That's
is so
our
awesome.
purpose.
Well, that's awesome. Well, once again, I want to thank you for your insight on today's topic. It was on point and crisp and real and very authentic, as you said. So it was really good. And to my Real Conversations with Nora audience, please follow us on social media on Instagram at BWOTMFG and on Facebook at Businesswomen on the Move for God. Visit my website at BWOTMFG.com and sign up for my new programs, and make sure you stop by my retail store where you'll find lots of great items, not only for you, your family, and friends. And also ask your friends to watch the show each week and share it with others. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Real Conversations with Nora. I want you to have a blessed and prosperous week. And again, Kayla, thank you so, so much for being our guest today. You were
Absolutely
amazing.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
Amazing.